Hello, welcome everyone to a new painting show. I'm very happy to be here. I'm your host Valentino Caruso, and today we're going to be talking with another painting with another guest. Very happy to be here. Remember, we are seeing this painting show to make everyone understand that you don't have to know anything about painting to be able to read the expressions or the story like a poem. Yes. So please enjoy this chapter. And today we're very happy to have from New York, Emilee Lord. How are you?
I'm okay. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thanks to you for being here. Tell us a little bit, what do you know about art and how you got how do you interest yourself in art? Yes. What's your approach?
I think I've always been interested in art, and I think I've always been kind of a careful observer of things. So as I began to go to school and create my own artistic practice, that was a part of it. So I think, and so I have my own artistic practice, and I make my own drawings, but I also teach drawing and art appreciation and entry-level courses in art history. And so one of the things I always talk about is that if you can describe something and take time to notice things about it, right? So you can unpack the image. You don't have to know what art movement it was made in, or what a historian would say about it necessarily, but you can still have an appreciation. So this is the way that I teach art history, and being
Okay,
able
that's
to.
exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
No, in that case. That's super great. Thank you very much. I like that idea. And I think it's a great way of teaching and making people to be sure and confident about their reading on a painting, no? In that way. Amazing. Okay, today in front of us, we have an amazing painting of Angelica Kaufman. It's called A Self-Portrait Hesitating Between the Arts of Music and Painting. I was telling Emilee before starting this tape that I want to be honest and to tell everyone that I heard a podcast about Angelica, and 2 days ago. It was only 10 minutes, but I got to know her very little, and I got to know this painting because of this podcast. So I wanted to make clear some points which I thought they were wonderful and very useful to enjoy the painting, not for the reading, but to enjoy the painting more. This woman, Angelica, was born in 1741 in Switzerland, and she was trained by her father, who was a painter and very poor, but he knew how to teach very good. And by the age of 12, Angelica already knew how to speak 5 languages. She was a very recognized singer also, and a very well-known painter between popes and people from the courts. So at this stage of her life, she had to decide in which career she wanted to get into. And she moved also to Rome, where she lived many years, and she loved the art, and where she learned most of it. And also she got into the classical period of painting with the Renaissance, and starting and being one of the first persons painting in the neoclassical movement, no? And it was wonderful. She also lived many years in London, where she was one of the 32 people in founding the London Royal Academy of Art, which is an amazing achievement at those times for women. And she was one of the only 2 women in this committee. Yeah, so I wanted to say this very quickly, so we know that she was a very well-known painter. But this information, I'm very sure that doesn't makes the things easier to recognize the painting, or read the painting. So let's start, no? I'm sorry to be long, but you start, Emilee. What do you think? What are your first thoughts when you see the painting?
My first impression, and to be clear, just to go on top of what you said for a moment, this information is really interesting, and kind of what it does is confirms what I was looking at. So I think knowing context is interesting, but again, not required. So when I looked at the title of the painting, and I looked and I saw that it was painted by a woman in the late 1700s, immediately I have to think about uh, what it must have been like as a woman to have a career, and a career with a great deal of authority during that time.
Mm-hmm.
To look at the date it was made and understand that was this neoclassical moment in Rome, and there was a lot of things kind of shifting. Whether or not you have that art historical knowledge, just knowing the date in history and the trajectory of women, and how they can build their careers and have, you know, autonomy is an interesting thing
Yeah.
to look at. And what I see also is that it's painted by a woman, and then so there's an artist in the center, and there's music and painting being depicted, and all of these characters are women as well. So the
Mm-hmm.
personification of music and the personification of painting, these two things she identified with very strongly, are women, and they're strong women. They're not fainting, and they're not frail. There's
They're
a great
confident, no?
figures, yeah.
They're confident in what they are trying to convince, also, or trying to say, the
Yeah,
figures.
yeah. They both seem very well equipped to pull her in one direction or another.
Yeah.
The So the title too, the hesitation to choose self-portrait and choosing between, right? So
Yeah.
one of the things I thought of in relation to the title is that this artist in the center is dressed in white and kind of bathed in a very neutral light, and the
Oh,
two
yeah.
characters on either side are darker dramatic colors and darker shadows and more dramatic lighting. So it's sort of this neutral not knowing, and these two powerful and already clearly defined things trying to pull in one way or another. That the center, and it's also centered in the image, is neutral, really
Mm-hmm.
speaking, being pulled in one direction.
Yeah. It's very true. And this neutral figure, like a white canvas, also makes me think, no? This hesitating has to do with also what happens with life, maybe most of the time that you are trying to hesitate. Also in arts, but maybe also represents we humans in every field being hesitating about things and taking decisions also, maybe
Yeah.
maybe from a wider point of view. In this hesitation and discussion between the two women, I think there's one that's more favored or not. I get
Yeah.
this feeling, no, because of holding the hand of the artist.
Yeah, although I saw it the other way around, like, to me, and especially knowing she painted this later, right? So the struggles
Yeah.
that she stayed with her, but also I think she's showing you what she picked, because
Okay.
the hands holding each other, if you look very closely, they're so tender, and they're a little
Yes.
bit sorry, and it looks like the hands pulling away,
Oh, I
and
love.
she's
Yeah.
gesturing
True.
towards the painting palette. So she's
I,
telling us, I picked painting,
yeah,
basically.
it's true. And she opens the hand and she opens the body also, like to a new
Yeah.
path. No, it's true.
Yeah.
I like that.
The looking back, I think the hands and the eye contact between music is a goodbye, thank you. And
Goodbye. Thank you for. Yeah, it's true. And but also the painting, the woman personifying the painting, she's very strong in her look. Anyways, it looks like it's going to be the decision is for good, maybe, but it's going to be a hard path. And she's also pointing to the height. It looks like a temple, no, like maybe the top of the Olympus or something
yeah,
like that, which means that
like
it's going
that's
to be a forward trajectory.
yeah, and her stance is so powerful. It reminds me a lot of military paintings where there's the general at the head of the army, and they're pointing and they're charging. Like it's very commanding. And so it seems like we're seeing the tender moment before she charges up um, on this path that she's obviously uh, was successful for her in some way, or in many ways.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And I like the resemblance to military paintings, this kind of trying to show power and confidence in knowing the way. Um,
I
and what
think,
about, yeah, tell me.
sorry, I think it's also because you mentioned she's pointing up to this, looks like a temple, or if you look at what's behind the woman depicting music, it's really shrouded in darkness. So there's
Yes.
less space to move, there's nowhere to go. So that also to me implies that the direction is up and towards and following the pointing hand.
No, yeah, I was going to ask about it, and you stepped in before. I really like the idea of not having a clear, maybe clarity on what's going to happen if she selects music also, no, to be a singer.
Right. It's obscured by something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's something now, of course, is represented by like what it looks like a very strange cave. But
Yeah.
this is, yeah, this is something that happens in her mind also, no, in a way.
Mm.
If we bring it into human nature,
Yeah.
something
Maybe
happens.
sorry, I keep jumping in.
Yeah.
I think there's a lag on the video. Yeah, I think the way that we make choices, right, to like move forward is there, can you envision it or not? And so this is depicting somehow that she couldn't see what was there for her or how long she could sustain that love. But this
Hmm.
other one has, hundreds of miles to extend into.
It's true. It's true. It's very nice. The colors are amazing. The composition of everything. And at one point before jumping into the colors, I was thinking that maybe also it has a musical connotation in a way, the painting, because it has in colors representing what painting means for her. But also I was thinking that in the way that the hands connect
Mm-hmm.
in this way has to do with some kind of musical movement, no, like
Yeah.
the art is trying to represent only not pictorially but in a sensational way. The music of course is muted, a painting is in silence and still, but representing painting like with the notes in a thing, it could be the hands, that's what I thought. I don't know, maybe I'm
Oh,
exaggerating or overreading, but that's the fun part.
there's always the danger of overreading, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But I think there's a musicality to them, like they could be um, about to dance, right? It seems like
Mm,
they're pictured in this pausing moment, that word hesitation in the title, before
yeah.
a decision, which is a movement. So it seems to be like they're absolutely connected in that way, and moving. The thing that connects them for me as well is that the painting character has this red scarf. So painting is bringing this little memory of her love with music along on the journey.
Ooh,
Never gonna get rid of it somehow.
I like that. Or that she's going to use this knowledge she got from music also.
Right. But it has to come
I,
with it.
yeah. I like much more your over reading about the movement with music than my own. Mine looks like very analytical, but the movement is true. And also that she's turning and is very beautiful. My other thoughts it's about where we are standing, no, to the painting. We are very close to them. We're in a way not inside the conversation at all, but we could definitely hear what they are talking about or what are they discussing about, which makes us parts in a way or tries to make us parts, I think.
Yeah. And I think that also, so it doesn't mean that we're going to know any more necessarily, because we're not going to hear it, but being close to and feeling a part of means that we're being let in on something, I think, really intimate and sensitive and close to her, the artist, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
depicted off in the hills so that we can observe this battle raging. It's more like um, when you're telling something to someone that's hard to talk about, your voice gets quieter, right? And you get closer to them. So that's, I
Mm,
feel like there's still maybe a little bit of pain in her knowing she had to make that choice and leaving something behind that she loved.
I want to jump into that mood that you are talking about, but also I want to say with what you also were saying is that putting it on the ground here in the fields close to us and normal humans, and being a neoclassical style of painting where they used to depict gods or nymphs or people who were in the skies, and they had another kind of, let's say, overhuman powers or certain non-natural powers. Now depicting herself as a human, as a normal person, as an artist, which is a mortal person, the same as the people who is reading the painting and everyone alive. She's bringing this power into humans of being able to be depicted the same way gods or nymphs or other mythological characters were portrayed before. No, I think that's also making it more democratic in a way, and brings the painting closer to humans to understand that everyone hesitates with the goddess of music, the goddess with painting, or any other personification. About the mood of the character or the whole painting, the mood of the whole painting is a little bit melancholic. The mood is not like super happy or okay, I decided by myself what I'm going to do, and I'm going to continue this road to the top of the mountain. No,
It's not triumphant, right?
triumphant.
It's the pose of of painting looks like a triumphant character, right? But yeah, there's this melancholy, quieter. This is the quiet moment, and again, why I love the word hesitation in the title, because it's just this pause, like you took a breath in for a second to think. It's very human. It's, though you made a really good point, like it's painted in the style of these gods with the dramatic light and the big landscape, but there's human beings, and that's relatable across the board because we are human beings in this landscape, and not
Yeah.
every moment is so triumphant. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And to close the chapter, do you have any conclusion of the painting? Something that stayed in your mind or that you liked?
There's two things that I just want to go back to that I keep looking at again, and it's that they're all women, and they're all personifications of things with power and authority. And so I like to, they're not the muses, they're the forces. So I love that. And I also am just really, really in love with the way the music and the artist are holding hands. There's something really tender and really sorry there that I'm going to continue to unpack, I think.
I like that very much. I think that now, over your conclusion, I have a conclusion of what you just said. They are not muses, but they are the power of a certain discipline. I love that. And it's very interesting that they are depicted as women. I think what I liked also very much is what you mentioned about the movement of dancing. I should have that in mind much more. And also, I like this powerful image, which is, it's supposed to be secondary, but this is about the landscape, one that is very shattered and dark and gloomy, without making it difficult to recognize the future, where it is going, or what does it have inside. And the other one is clear, and it looks like hard to get there. It looks like high. It looks, you have to get into a process, no? And use a lot of energy.
Yeah, so it's an uphill journey. And one thing that I love, going back to the point of this show, right, is that you can look at this painting, you can understand that there's a woman struggling with a decision, and that she's made one, and just based on where the light is and where things are moving, you can understand which one she picked, but you don't have to know anything about her life. And I think that's really lovely.
That's very lovely, and I love that, and that's the point of the show. Very good. Emilee, thank you very much. Please take care in New York. Take care of the virus.
I will. You as well. Be safe. Thank you so
very
much.
much.